Hello everyone. So in today's video we will learn the basic syntax of JavaScript and how to write basic programs in JavaScript. So let's start with variables. So what are variables in JavaScript? A variable is a way of storing information in a computer program. Think of a variable like a container and the name of the variable as the label on the container through which we can come to know what is inside that container. So variable in JavaScript, as the name suggests, they can vary with time. So what I mean to say is that the lucky number, I can change it to 9 from 7, and in JavaScript specifically the variable type or the type of the data which is going to get saved in the variable can also get changed. So let's try to understand the concept of variables with a simple example of your house address. So suppose your friends need to reach out to you, so they will reach out to you with help of your house address. So once they got your house address, they can reach out to you. So house address over here is nothing but the variable name. So each variable name will have its own memory, and once we have access to your house address, they can access to the data which is nothing but you. Now imagine a scenario that there are two houses holding two different data, but suppose those two houses have same variable name, house address and house address. So in this case your friends would unable to reach out to you because of the ambiguity. They are confused which house address holds the data which is appropriate for them. So this is the reason why two different variables cannot have the same name. So in JavaScript, there are majorly three keywords: where, let, and const. Where and let create variables that can be reassigned another value. Const creates constant variables that cannot be reassigned another values. So where is not used much in the industry. Let and const are recently introduced and are used much more than compared to where. So let's try to understand different keywords of JavaScript with help of a simple JavaScript code. So over here, lucky number has been assigned as a keyword with where, and first name is also declared with the keyword as let. So as I mentioned before, where and let can be reassigned with new values in the future, but there is also one more variable over here as gender. So gender has been already declared as const and it is initialized with the value male. So if I try to, so let's see what happens if I try to change the gender. I will save it and try to run it. As you can see, we have encountered an error, and the error says assignment to a constant variable. So once you have declared any variable with the keyword const, it cannot be reassigned to any new value. So next is JavaScript data types. So data types is a type of a data which we can assign it to our variables. So once we have declared our JavaScript variables with the keywords const, let, and where. So once you initialize them or once you save any kind of data in it, these are the following data types which can get stored in them. So object, date, array, string, number, boolean, all these are different kinds of data types which JavaScript support. So let's try this with a simple block of code. Over here, the lucky number, as we can see it, if I hover it in the Visual Studio, as we can see, it is showing number and first name is showing as string. Whatever we write in single quotes became string. So let me try to execute this code. As you can see, I have over here I have console.log type of first name. So first name, as we can see, it is string. Type of is an inbuilt JavaScript function which is available, which we can use it, and it gives and returns the type of the data stored in this particular variable. And console.log helps to console it in the console. Similarly, for lucky number, as we can see, we have got the output as type of number. So next on, let us study if and else statements. So what is if and else statements? Suppose there is a scenario where you only need to execute or run a block of code only when a certain condition matches. So suppose you only want the person to drive a car only when he or her is older than 18 years old. So in that case, only this particular block of line will get executed. So let's try to execute this program. As you can see, Aditya is eligible to drive. This is because the age of Aditya, which is I have declared over here, is greater than equal to 18, which is 18 over here. Suppose I change the condition over here. So you can also add different arithmetic operations, different logical operations in the if block as well. I will try to save it and run it. As you can see, no console.log is happening over here because the code did not went into the if statement. So what should happen when there is when the code flow does not happen, does not goes into the if block? In this particular scenario, each if block will have its own else block as well. So if the if condition does not matches, the control flow will go into the else block and a different block of code will get executed. I will try to save it and run it again. As you can see, my age is 18, but the condition says that the age should be greater than 18. Hence, Aditya is not eligible to drive. So next in the line, let's try to understand what are for loops in JavaScript. We will try to understand what are for loops in JavaScript with simple code to find sum of 1 to 100. So one way to find sum of 1 to 100 is simply initialize some variable with 0 and then keep adding with 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5, and at the end you will get sum equal to whatever the sum of 1 to 100 is. Another way is to simply 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 until up to 100. These are the two ways with which you can find the sum of 1 to 100. But what do you think? Is this a logical way to find the sum of 1 to 100? Because we are programmers, right? We need to find the elegant way to execute any particular, to find the solution of any particular problem, right? So fewer lines of code, the better. So here is where for loop comes in, and it helps us to line fewer lines of code and also find the solution of the particular problem. So here is the way how you can find sum of 1 to 100 using for loop. So let's learn how to read and write your own for loop. So the for loop comprises of three particular arguments. The first argument is where you initialize your counter with. I want my counter to initialize with value 1. The second argument will be the condition, since when your for loop should get keep on executing. If there is no condition present, then your for loop will go into infinite repetition and ultimately it will burn out your memory and core. The third parameter of the for loop is incrementing or decrementing your counter. So your counter gets incremented or decremented after your each and every iteration of your for loop. So let's try to iterate one for loop execution, and let's try to do it. Over here, the sum has been set to the value of 0, as we have declared sum as 0 over here. So in this arithmetic operation, what I am doing is that I am adding up sum, which is 0 plus I. So I was initially 1, so 0 plus 1 is 1, and the first iteration has been finished and the control flow goes back into the for loop. So after, as I said, after every iteration the counter gets incremented. So your counter gets incremented from 1 to 2, and then it checks the condition that is 2 is less than equal to 100. Yes, it is. So hence the condition is true and the control goes back into the for loop. Right now the sum value was 1 in the previous iteration, hence 1, and I, which is our counter, its value is 2. So 1 plus 2 is 3, and the 3 will be assigned to the sum, and this will keep on happening 100 times until the I value goes beyond 100, and as soon as the I value goes beyond 100, the for loop condition gets failed and the control comes to the line number 9, which is console.log, and it prints out the sum, and the sum would be 5050. So now let's start with complex primitives like arrays and objects. So array is a contiguous block of memory. Over here, as you can see, array of length 5. So array of length 5 will have n number of indexes in them. Each index starts with 0. So I will repeat again. Array of n number of length will have n number of indexes which will start from index number 0. You can try to understand array by imagining it as a form of a building. Each building would be have different rooms inside them, and to access the room, first you need an address of the building. So as you can see over here, if I need to access room number 1, and as I have said before that the array always starts from the index 0. So if I want to access room number 1, first I will find the address of the building, which is the name of the variable, and after then I will access the room with help of the square bracket and provide the index which I need to access. So for the room number 1, the index is 0, and similarly if I want to access room number 4, which is 0, 1, 2, 3. So room number 4 is located at the index 3. So I can access it by simply using this particular syntax. Let me run this code for you, and over here is the output. And also I would like to mention over here I have written a mix array. So why I have written this mix array? Because over here you can see the each index is pointing to a different data type. On the 0th index it is pointing to the string. On the first index it is pointing to a number, then it is a boolean, then again it's a string, and this, and I can also console.log this particular array over here, and I am not getting any error, and the output is been perfectly printed in the console. So JavaScript also support an array pointing to different data types. So now let's try to understand the concept of objects. So let's imagine a scenario over here that there are different persons, like 5 different persons, which I have stored in this person name array, Aditya, Rishabh, Dhruv and Ankit. So over here, Aditya's age is been declared as 25, Rishabh's age is declared as 30. So as we know how to read English, I can come to know that Aditya's age is 25. So okay, Aditya's age will be 25, Rishabh's age will be 30. But JavaScript compiler does not going to know that this particular Aditya's age is been associated with this particular Aditya in the 0th index present in the person names array. So this is where I would like to introduce objects. So objects will help to uh, collect all the data inside a one container. An object is simply a collection of different properties or variables. As you can see, we will create one simple object which will have two properties, person name and its person's age. So over here I have created an object called as person. So the person would have two properties, first name and age. So and these properties would be stored in the form of key value pair. And suppose if I need to access the first name of our person object, then I would simply utilize the name of the object and dot with the property I need to access. So this will console.log my name Aditya. So over here you can see I have created an array of objects called as person array. On the 0th index there would be an object of Aditya. On the first index there would be an object of Rishabh. So what the problem which we faced initially, that how to associate Aditya's age with Aditya and Rishabh's age with Rishabh. So that problem has been solved by this with help of objects. And what we have done over here is that we have created an array of our objects, and the age has been associated with its first name Aditya, and we have uh, consolidated age and first name in one single umbrella. So next in line, we are going to learn functions. Functions help us to achieve drive. What is drive? Don't repeat yourself. So let's understand the use of functions with help of a simple block of JavaScript code. So let's take this scenario. Over here, I want to find square of variable A and variable B. In A, 2 is stored and in B, 3 is stored. So to find the square of variable A, what I would do simply is that over here I will console.log 2 into 2 and I will get square of 2, and to find the square of 3 I would simply multiply b by b, which is 3 by 3, and I would get the square of 3, which is 9. So, but this is again the drive principles, which is don't repeat yourself. These two lines are not exactly the same. This line is multiplying A into A and this line is multiplying B into B. But the structure or the pattern of this entire code is similar. And this can be made into a single line and we can return the output from that particular single line. So let's introduce function over here. So over here you can see that I have created a function called a square, and if I try to compare this with the previous logic, over here you saw that the business logic or the arithmetic logic to find the square of any number was written twice. Uh, every time the number changed, that every time the number changed from A to B, you need to write this particular business logic again and again. This would be against the dry principles. Don't repeat yourself. We achieved dry principles with help of function. We improved the reusability of the code, and this block of square function can be reused again and again in any part of our source code that we want. We can simply call this function by calling its name over here and pass whatever parameter we need to. This parameter gets passed on to the function body. In the function body, the business logic is written to multiply uh, or to calculate the square of the particular number, and we simply return the square of the number with help of this function or console.log in the console. So that's all for this video. I would like you to do all these particular assignments that I have mentioned over here. Write a program that counts from 1 to 1000 and print it using for loop. Write a program that prints all the even numbers in an array. Then write a function that finds the sum of two numbers. Okay, so if you have done this, then in the next video we would start topics that which we are going to cover, which are callback functions, asynchronous JavaScript, promises, and JavaScript inbuilt functions like map and filter. Thanks for watching this video, guys. See you soon.